left. Okay.
No, I'm right here.
Look how mad he is.
Jimmy,
I'm right here. I'm just getting my water. It's actually vodka.
He was getting
All
his-
vodka.
I knew it. That is not
How
water.
pissed I am.
So, I mean, we almost launched this show after the third quarter because we were also fed up. I started watching the Bengals and the Browns. But, I mean,
guys.
Look, there's a few things that happened in the fourth quarter we could dissect, but this was a freaking disgrace. The Celtics were outscored 37-17 in the third quarter, blew a 17-point lead, 13-point halftime lead, but a high water mark of 17 in this game after a 14-point fourth quarter lead in game one. And honestly, this is freaking what do you have to say? I mean, what do you have to say about it? I mean, what can you say about it? Is this no heart? Is it a little wrinkle gets thrown and they can't figure it out? Do they get complacent? Like, what's the main culprit here for constantly blowing leads like this, double-digit leads? There's nobody better in the game at this than they are.
Well, it's not the zone. I don't even want to hear about
the zone
because
it was not great.
Yeah, so that it wasn't great for 3 quarters. Then the fourth, it produced some critical turnovers, but it's still that thing where the Celtics get in the strings of bad possessions, and I think they went 1 of 8 to finish the third quarter. So you're piling up all these misses, and the Heat are just so good in transition. And in that first half, they were missing some uncharacteristic layups in transition, a ton of shots under the rim. And you started to see that go in their direction a little bit in that third. But what really swung this game was Tice coming out in the middle portion of that third, Cantor coming in, and Bam Adebayo just throwing down bombs on him, bomb after bomb after bomb in the pick and roll. And that just broke their spirit.
And at the end of the day, Cantor's stat line will actually still look pretty good. He finished in plus territory, and he was a big part of why they built that lead. It was just glaring in the third quarter when he came out. And it was just literally, I think Adebayo had like 15 dunks in that quarter. It was unbelievable.
Every time you looked at Cantor, this is what you saw.
Yeah.
The slow-mo.
And let's be fair, they're gonna target him in that. But it was honestly, I think it was smart, or Tatum or someone else was supposed to be there on the back line helping out, and instead he was just uncontested.
A couple of times. There was one time where, and they talked about it on the game, where Tatum is pinned to the weak side shooter, almost like it's like you teach a child to play basketball when they guard their person, they're just
stay on him.
They're facing them everywhere they go around the court, even if they're at half court. And that's kind of where he was. He's out on a shooter that had no chance of getting the ball, and he didn't pinch it at all, so you didn't get any help side. Cantor did what he's supposed to do there,
Right.
They got no help side drop down D there, and it's just kabam, I mean, so Wanamaker got buried one time on a bad rotation there too, so it wasn't all Cantor. He looks like the culprit because, again, he was the one who's, staring up at it.
Right.
And he looks so slow and goofy just trying to shuffle his way back. I mean, he tries really hard. He just can't do it.
No, I don't hate Cantor minutes. I mean, when he was in there right off the bat, he was very effective.
They needed it tonight, yeah.
Exactly, grabbing offensive. It kind of made you think, how did Brad not go to him at all in game one? That's what I was thinking as Cantor was kind of effective in the early stages. But getting back into that third quarter, I don't know what it is with these guys. I don't know if they're in their own. To answer your question, it's not heart. I feel like that's just an easy cop out. Like, oh, they don't have enough hat.
I don't think that's it.
It's not it, but I honestly think that some of it is mental. I mean, I honestly think that they watch themselves blowing these leads and say, here we go again, and it almost feels like they don't have somebody that is able to like stop the bleeding. I mean, that was out of all the bad third quarters that we talk about, that has to be at the top of the list of just bad third quarters. I mean, you go in with a 13-point lead, and were they outscored by 20 points in that quarter?
Yeah.
I mean,
17-37, yeah.
Unacceptable. That's hard to do. I mean, that's hard to do. You're a good team. You're a good team. You're in the Eastern Conference Finals. You're a good team. I can't imagine that happening to most teams at this stage. And to allow that happening, it just tells me like there's nobody, like no Jason Tatum, no Jalen, but nobody can like just like stop the bleeding there and maybe score 5 straight and stop it.
Right, that's the most glaring part, right? The third quarter. But to me, what pissed me off more than anything was the Heat go 2 of 11, and you don't take advantage of it. They went 2 of 11. I'm thinking to myself, okay, here we go. Like, this is why you can't live and die, because you're going to sometimes die by the 3. And the Celtics just didn't capitalize. They couldn't find their offense. They start chucking threes. There was 2 possessions where Marcus Smart, all of a sudden, he's taking contested fadeaways. All of a sudden, he gets the ball, and instead of swinging it, the way they were doing it in the first half, they were swinging the ball really nicely in the first half. All of a sudden, he chucks up a 3, 5 or 6 seconds into the shot clock. I mean, it almost felt like, and this is what happens with teams when you blow a big lead like the Celtics did, right? And this is what the Miami Heat always capitalize on. They've been doing it all season long, and they did it again. When the Celtics lose that lead, all of a sudden, and it's still the third quarter, right? Or at least the beginning of the fourth quarter. All of a sudden, it seems like every single possession is the very end of the game. And they're treating every possession that way. But they finally settled down because the Miami Heat went cold for a second. So, and then, they revert back to not playing the same defense that they were playing before.
To this point, okay, and Gary Washburn, who's in the bubble, okay? And I don't know if anyone's following this on Twitter.
I'm a huge G-Dub.
Okay, so Gary Washburn.
What do you got?
Marcus Smart is screaming in the Celtics locker room, and there's a bunch of arguing going on. Smart out and saying, y'all on that bullshit. Team is imploding. Smart is in bathroom, and there's still screaming coming from the locker room. Smart wasn't the only one yelling. There were definitely items thrown and a lot of yelling. Argument continuing. Locker room still closed. This spanned 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago, 33 seconds ago. Okay,
John, you know what I noticed at halftime? Sorry, not to cut you off.
No, that's good because this is the story right here.
You know what I noticed? Jaylen Brown's body language. It was like he just wasn't in sync with what was going on. He was just going along with the show, and it started to translate on the defensive end. How many times was he a step late closing out that three-pointer, or when he got confused and Daniel Tice is screaming at him saying, "Where were you off the weak side?" And then he starts getting a little bit of momentum towards the fourth quarter, but too little, too late. I'm sorry, guys. If I'm Jaylen Brown, if I'm guessing here, Jaylen Brown's in the locker room saying, "Why the hell can I get the ball more often? Why does Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum have to save the day every single game?"
And I was about to text you guys, like, where is Jaylen? Like, where's his involvement?
I tweeted it. Get him involved.
He's clapping in the corner asking for it.
I know, but what's strange to me is like that was 2 years ago, Jaylen, sitting in the corner waiting for the ball. Okay,
rookie year,
year 2 Jaylen, when that stroke was good, and really the only thing you could count on there. But this year, we're looking at Jaylen, who was generating his own offense, beating guys off the dribble.
He should have the second most shots on the team, to be honest.
He should have shots because he can attack and he can create. And in a zone, you want people attacking that zone. So
yeah, he should be the guy in the middle.
He's the one guy that can
I'm so surprised that he's not that thing that's unlocking that zone a little bit for them, where they can get more aggressive. He can get on the inside. It's baffling to me.
Now the fight worries me because I don't know if Stevens can control.
Oh, really,
Bobby?
I love Gary's tweets. I love Gary's tweets.
He's all over stuff like that. That's why as soon as I knew it was something like that.
Team is imploding.
Let me tell you, Gary's gonna have a book deal after this. But
are you kidding me? In that bubble? Absolutely.
Life in the bubble.
This worries me because I thought it was going to be a calm, X's and O's adjustments, Brad's specialty. I don't know if Brad can handle things flying over his head.
Marcus Smart yelling all that bullshit. No, he's not about that life.
And that's the thing. That's the time where, I love, I get it. Zen Brad, he doesn't yell, he stays positive.
He's not ready for this.
We see those Steve Kerr clips that everybody's sharing about him like hugging, and lifting people up, and you're the best, and I've got so much confidence in you. I want Brad to be the one tearing down the friggin' room.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, John.
It's not going to happen.
I wonder what he said to the team.
Brad had the players only meeting, or when they had the players only meeting, Brad
kept walking by us in the hall. He's like, they won't let me in.
He was pacing. All of a sudden, he wants to pick up conversations with random reporters. It's like, Brad, you don't do this after the game.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, Brad, get in there, buddy.
When was that?
We were there. We were at the Garden. Kyrie had the meeting, and they held the whole thing. And Brad's just like, guys, can I come in,
Bro, 45 minutes. We're in the hallway.
So
45 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That was poor Trags was never the same. You can't keep Trags waiting for 45 minutes.
That did Trags.
That might have ended Trags' career.
That was it. Ohio. That was it.
Oh, man. So we have a development with that, huh? That terrifies me.
Situation. On a serious note, we talked about the team going through adversity against the Raptors, and I think we said, this is the first bit of adversity that they've had after they went down after they dropped games 3 and 4. Well, this is completely a new level because even going into game 2, they never trailed in it. This team had never trailed in a series, right? So this, going into game 2 down 0-1, they were playing from behind, and now 0-2 against a Heat team that, listen, they don't strike me as a team like the Clippers or like the Sixers. Like, they're not gonna like take the foot off the gas. Like, they want to kill you. And I think the Celtics know that, their backs are up against the wall right now. And Marcus Smart, hopefully what he's saying isn't just based in anger and frustration. There's actually some teeth to it. Maybe there are a couple of guys who need some wake-up calls. Maybe there's a reason for it. I don't think Marcus Smart would just go off the rails for no reason. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that.
Well, probably defensive because, let's face it, some of those shots were very questionable down the stretch.
Oh, yeah, the turnaround on
the
Dragic.
turnaround floater.
Yeah.
The floater? This is the
turnaround sky-high floater. That's the shot you get when you need a bucket. That was a terrible decision. One more Washburn thing to throw out. And again, Gary, veteran reporter. He's been around a long time, so I don't think he's prone to hyperbole.
Man.
He wrote, been outside a bunch of locker rooms in my days. That was as ruckus as I've ever heard. And this is crazy from the Celtics, where you've got Tatum, whose volume barely goes above this, and Jalen, who's really soft-spoken, and you don't have a lot of loud guys in there outside of Smart.
Kemba's all smiles.
Kemba's all smiles. Semi Ojeleye just lifts weights really loud, but he's not going to yell at anybody. He's just slamming weights on the ground when he gets
Great
angry.
taste in music too.
Gary's been around, man. I mean, Oakland guy. He's probably seen a lot of, heard a lot, seen a lot, and for him to say that. Whew.
So I'm kind of curious. I'm curious, like other people are yelling. I wonder where it's coming from. And again, this is all we're going to be talking about for another day or two. But
it's too bad.
What's strange is it's not only this series, it does really mess with the whole, kumbaya, everybody's great since Kyrie is gone narrative. And again, this could be, brothers fight, besties fight, and all of that stuff. But you feel like
that's what they're going to say.
Which is what they'll say. But you wonder, like, is there something underneath the surface there? And I don't know. We're going to hear it.
I like what Jimmy said, too, because Smart's the one putting the directive on the team. But I felt like a lot of tonight was on him, like a significant amount of turnovers, and Tatum and Kemba turnovers, significant degree, too. But he was throwing away possessions in the most consequential portion of the game. And frankly, as we said, pulling some of the ball time that should have been in Tatum and Brown's direction toward himself. And two moments I hated is he's in the middle of that zone, wide open, and doesn't pull the trigger and throws it out and extends the possessions too long. And this is still the late game execution we've been talking about for so long. But tonight it was the entire second half.
Yeah.
Who are the vocal guys? We already know Marcus. I think Jalen's probably somebody else who's probably said something. Maybe Jalen said, I mean, we're totally throwing these things against the wall, but maybe Jalen could have said something to Marcus to set him off. Maybe vice versa. I don't know. But those two guys are the vocal ones. As you said, John, Tatum's a pretty quiet guy. Tice is pretty quiet. Kemba's even pretty quiet. I mean, relatively speaking, I guess I don't know enough about him, in the locker room to say one way or the other. But it's been a locker room that the guys have liked each other, dating back to before the season even started, Team USA stuff. And again, this is their first real adversity. And they came up, listen, they blew this game. They may have blown this series tonight because, again, it doesn't feel like what I've seen from the Heat and what we knew about the Heat, they're not going to let the foot off the gas at least that easily. You're going to really need to come out tough as nails in Game 3 to get back in this series.
The Heat are 10-1 in the playoffs. I don't think we talk about that enough. Like there's something happening there in Miami that is bigger than anything going on the Celtics side. I mean, they smoked, and we all had our doubts about the Bucks, but they smoked the Bucks, like end to end, entire series.
They smoked the Bucks. There's no question about it.
Right. Well, to respond to Jimmy, though, I think it happened tonight, though, right? Like, we've never seen them like this. You never seen Tice yelling at his own teammates like that. You never see, the way Jalen looked, just like he was just not in sync offensively. And on defense, it was almost as if he was just going through the motions at some parts. Like, I just think the pressure of being down, which is something that's never been, right? They never trailed in a series this postseason. And now it's 2 games. But before that, I just think the pressure just got onto them. And again, when the Miami Heat went cold in that fourth quarter, you didn't capitalize, or you did to a certain extent, but that was it. And I just felt like I didn't see the continuity, the same sort of chemistry that we saw at least in the Toronto series, win or lose.
Yeah, the collectiveness. And you heard Brown yesterday, right? They asked him about his shot totals, and he said, we talked about that. And that was telling to me.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, at halftime, I was looking at Jalen. I'm like, I didn't think, there's going to be an argument or a fight after the game. But I was like, he looks a little frustrated. Maybe he's a little frustrated not getting the touches that he thought he would get.
Yeah.
Well, we know it was Smart, at least, that sparked this, which is so interesting to me.
I mean, and Jalen almost shot him back into it. Back-to-back threes and a shot with a third there. That would have been something.
I thought his fourth quarter as a whole was huge. He was getting on the boards when no one was.
Big rebound.
Yeah, he had a drive and finish in the lane. Like
drew a foul one time. Yeah, he was.
The Celtics started that fourth so well. They held the Heat to 2 of 11. They hit the bonus with 8 minutes to go.
15-2 run. They took a 5-point lead again. 5-point lead in the fourth quarter, and they evaporated like that. You had those two terrific plays by Butler. You got to tip your hat. That behind the back save, which results in a basket there, and then another one.
How about the inbounds turnovers by the Celtics? I mean, the one under their basket was absolutely pathetic.
Smart, yeah.
That was pathetic. I mean, what are you doing? Just nonchalantly tossing it? That's something that the Celtics would do. That's something that Marcus Smart would steal the inbounds like that. So for him to for the Celtics to make that error, that to me was like, did these guys even want it as much as we thought they did? Because it certainly didn't look that way coming out in the second half. I mean, it really is two different teams. And Bobby, we're talking about zone defense again. I mean, is Brad Stevens unable to? I mean, this is the second straight.
Right, he's got to go back to college and figure this out.
Is this the second straight series? I mean, what?
Come on, Brad.
What's the problem?
You need more time in college.
This should be his expertise, right?
Yeah,
Brad got the Butler tapes, man. He's going through everything, all the old stuff he used to run.
Come on, guys, figure it out, Brad.
Really?
I don't say this before you drop the Gary Washburn bomb there.
Brad hasn't taken any heat from us yet.
I was going to say this before you said the Washburn thing. I think it's an identity crisis with these guys. It's like they're almost looking like the shades of what we saw last season, the hero ball combined with we'll give a quarter or a quarter and a half of that gritty defense, but then it's going to fade away. And the Miami Heat, they prey on teams like that.
And that's what kills you.
Their outside shooting.
Yeah, and we've had a ton of conversations going back to the Toronto series about their offensive breakdowns, but now the defense is slipping too for significant periods.
And the defense, when that happens, that's the worrisome thing. Offense is like you get frustrated, but you always want to see the defense is the effort thing, the togetherness thing, the heart thing, when they're playing through it. Even those periods in Toronto where the offense went ice cold, the defense pretty much played well the entire series. This is the first time you're seeing legitimate breakdowns all over the place there.
And that's exactly what we saw last year, because that's the kind of pattern you see from a team where the chemistry is just out of sync offensively. That's what it looked like to me. It just seemed like Kemba and Tatum, well, at least not in the first half, I shouldn't say that. The ball was swinging nicely. And I thought that was sort of going to be the tone that they're going to set and keep that going throughout. But as soon as you lose that lead, they panic. And then they lose another one in the fourth quarter.
Brad Stevens said, "Guys,
I'm gonna hear. Hold on, we got Brad right here. I'm gonna play Brad on the argument here with that Washburn was talking about.
Screaming, come out swearing. It sounded like things were being thrown. Can you just walk us through what happened in there?
Guys were emotional after a hard game, hard loss.
Thanks,
That's
Brad.
It. That's all he had.
Popovich is F right there, man. That was a great answer.
That's all he had.
Mad Popovich in that one.
You hear a little emotion in his voice too. That had to be a jarring moment for
Guys
him.
are emotional.
And,
you know what?
It's like what John said. He doesn't know what to do right now.
He doesn't know what to do. Jimmy, you look like you're in some galaxy far, far away right now. Okay, it's good.
I am. I feel like I'm in.
He's floating.
Come chill with us, man.
Guys are emotional. Of course, guys are emotional. But where's that emotion out? Where's that emotion in the third quarter when you're just, you're in la la land as this team drops 20 extra points on you in that quarter? Where's the emotion then? Where's the emotion in the fourth quarter down the stretch when you're looking for anybody to take control of this game? Somebody take over. Somebody be the guy to take. I thought it was actually going to be Jaylen Brown, and he did it a couple of those threes. But again, too little, too late. late. And again, it doesn't feel like they're looking to him enough. It feels like bubble Jaylen Brown all of a sudden didn't make it to this series, even though he was taking 18, 20 shots a game against the Raptors, and he was, player 1A in the regular season bubble. We were saying, oh, Celtics don't even need Jason Tatum to score 25 points a game.
Bobby said it earlier, and I agree with this 100%. This should be a Jalen and Jason offense, okay? And you get what you get from Kemba. And
especially in this series.
But I actually like it better when Kemba takes what the game gives him instead of forces the offense. They've always been better that way. And then you have those times when things go cold, he's like, all right, I'll do the Kemba thing, and he'll try to heat it up. And that's where you want him, in those situations when other people are struggling, to kind of come in and be like, I'll do this now. But I don't like it when it runs through him. And I don't like it when it runs through Tatum either. I mean, I like it when it runs through. It should be running through those wings, and you play. If you want to isolate, sure, play matchups, but get Jalen involved in it too. You think he can't beat his guy off the dribble half the time that they're out there? Absolutely can, Get to the line, create some contact, get him into the flow of things, get some easier shots around the rim. It's a jump shot centric offense that revolves around those guys getting hot, and then hopefully Marcus Smart having a good 3 game, and it's just, again, it had to tell you something when they shot 68%, like almost halfway through the second quarter, and they were still only, up 5 at that point.
4-point lead, yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway,
man, the Heat fans have found the stream. I see, huh? The Heat fans have found the stream. The Celtics fans are quiet tonight. The Heat fans have found the stream.
They're 2 games from the finals, so that's when they have to jump in.
All 12 Heat fans are on this right now?
The 6 came here.
I counted 14, but yeah.
14 Heat fans?
The Toronto fans are back too? Oh,
yeah. They said, we would have destroyed the Heat.
Bring me the Toronto fans at least. We got to have some fun.
Oh man.
So this is let's get back to Stevens, because I think we're noticing a little trend here in this series in some of his statements. He obviously just gave Jason the pass on those 2 possessions after game 1. He said, he's going to give whatever he wants in those situations. He was on the radio before the game talking about the transition defense and said, we didn't even need to watch film. The guys understand what they need to do in these situations. So he's taken a very hands-off approach in this series and trying to let the players police themselves to some degree. So I think you see with the positioning on the floor, especially versus a zone, I feel like Marcus Smart steps up and says, I want to be the guy in the middle of the zone. He's the lead veteran on the team. And so he's getting a ton of priority as these 2 games go on. And that pushes Brown out a little bit. And we know Brown, he's less of a vocal guy. He's not going to stand up in that situation as strong. And so all of a sudden, you're in a situation now, I think you see with the locker room situation today too, where the players are just policing themselves and trying to figure this out on their own, because Stevens is going to handle the X's and O's, the film, but he's not going to step in on the chemistry of this team.
Again, what's going to happen is, Celtics Twitter and basketball, minded people are going to give Stevens a bit of a pass there. He's going to get friggin' murdered.
The Bobbies of the world?
No, but I mean, look, but he's going to get murdered on talk shows and talk radio for whatever it's worth, because at this point you do want somebody to fix it. It's as simple as that to most fans. Is you see something, do something about it. Like, you're the guy. Your guys are blowing huge leads. Do something about it. They're fighting in the locker room. Fix it. And I don't know that he can.
No, it's a hard thing to fix, and leaving it to the players is tricky too, because we see in the emotion of these games, they're not able to fix certain things. How long have they been talking about arguing on the refs instead of getting back, like Tice yesterday? And it's just not happening.
But that's the thing, is like, this is the Stevens approach to the Democratic approach to shot selection. Never tell somebody don't do this because you don't want to hurt their confidence. And it does pay off down the road, because people like that. They don't want to feel like every time they jack it, they look to the bench like, am I coming out now? So it has its benefits.
That's pretty much the reason why Marcus Smart takes so many threes.
Yeah, but it has its benefits. But there's certain times where you want a guy to just kind of take control of the situation, and it's just not his style. His style is to let things kind of play out, give confidence in his guys, and let them go out there and do their thing. And I don't know. That's what you got.
Yeah, but he's got to
Smart.
step in here. I mean, this is a great opportunity because you're in the bubble. You guys have been
But
spending
what's he going to do if he gets mad? They're going to
9 weeks
laugh.
together. What's that?
If he gets mad, they're just going to laugh at him. They're not going to take it seriously. Like,
You got to find a way to connect with these guys. He's known the core of this team for what, 4 years now? 3
but
to
you
4
need
years?
a little rage to be a coach too. It's got to
You
be
do.
there, you know. Like that's the thing. Is like it's cool, but it's like you got that parent who like they only raise their voice like very seldom, but when they do, it's like holy fuck, like
Yeah.
I must
Yeah,
have
yeah.
really upset them,
Nah, I messed up, right?
Francona couldn't do it either. I remember back in the day, like he had to like fake it one time and get ejected and act like he was mad, and everyone's like, "We're not buying it, Tito." Like
Yeah, at this point, like he's so far into it.
he's
We're
so
talking
far
7
into it.
years here.
I don't
yeah.
think you can sell it, right?
Yeah.
But even Tito, he had fire. He had, whether it was an umpire or what. I mean, he had some serious fire in him at times.
Yeah. But again, you're right. Brad's probably too far along here. So again, I don't know what he does here. It really is on the players. So
Washburn said
He needs to
Smart-
try something.
What's
Smart
up,
left
Vinny?
didn't speak to the media. Smart left. Some other players
Why?
left. They didn't speak to the media.
That's not
Why?
good
Serious?
either.
It's not good.
I don't know, man.
I mean, that's
they're
usually
they're
smart
in
when
a
you put-
glass
when you put
bubble
yourself
of
up.
emotion.
So that's the question here. Like, what can Stevens do? Anything but have these guys go back to their hotel rooms and hole up for 2 days. Like anything else. And that's where it seems like it's going right now, if that's the case.
I don't know, guys. I feel like this is just an identity crisis with these guys. Like, do you know this is the 7th straight
Now?
game they've blown a double-digit lead? It's almost like they're okay with it, and that's not good against a team like Miami because you're gonna lose the series with that kind of mentality. Like,
That's the thing. You just can't keep going deeper into games.
right, you're conditioned
yeah.
into giving up double-digit leads, and like as if game one was like, to me that was going to be like the watermark, but they weren't that far off this time around. 13-point lead in the fourth quarter. Game one, 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. 17-point lead overall. It's awful.
So let's
That's
good
what's crazy
question,
to
Ed.
me. It's like a 17-point lead by the Celtics felt more tenuous than Miami's 7-point lead in the fourth quarter, where I was like,
Right.
we're like, this game's
Yeah.
over.
We're getting used to this, and we were like kind of let it slide because they won that series against the Raptors, but we didn't realize how many times they fall behind.
They tried to give so many games away. Again, that's why to go back on the Toronto, that's why Jimmy and I spent the whole series like these guys suck. They didn't suck, but honestly, it just felt like if the Celtics didn't let them into a bunch of games, it would have been over immediately. They just,
Right.
I'm even going back on the Toronto now. I want to give them less credit than we gave them last time because I really feel like almost
Now I can see why you were so mad that
all,
night. Now I see
exactly. All of it felt self-inflicted.
That's how I felt tonight. I'm
It
like,
didn't feel like Toronto was exerting the
is
pressure.
this all self-inflicted here though?
It is when if you play well enough to take the lead, you got to play well enough to hold it. Okay, so at this point, what are you doing? You can't.
So this is the tricky thing, and this is where we got to pull in Danny Ainge.
He's not here. I don't have Danny. I've got one of my Emerson students is in the waiting room, but I don't have Danny. I don't have Danny.
hey, if he wants to really impress you, man, get Danny Ainge.
Yeah.
Right. Next
Your
assignment. Get me
intern
Danny.
working.
Yeah.
We need. I mean, he was on the radio the other day. Once we can get to that point, we'll get him in here. But for right now, we just got to talk to him. This team wasn't built right. There's no foundation bench wise, and we've been saying this all year. So if you're able to rotate,
top heavy team, top 6 players, that's supposed to be enough. It is enough. The talent is there.
they have 5.
Dude, they're bringing
Here's what
Dragic
I'll
off
say
the
that
bench, and he's their best player. It's crazy.
I mean, they have
like,
Olynyk. They can sprinkle in Iguodala, and they're not even using Jones and Nunn, who are
Iguodala's
probably the first 2
but
players.
still, you're right.
No, he plays good minutes when he's in there, and they comfortably play Butler 35 in this one, and the Celtics have been pushing 40 night in and night out, and I think 3 rounds in now, that probably has some impact in these second halves.
Which, again, it wouldn't if they just put Toronto away in 4 like they should have. Instead, it didn't turn that into a 7-game, 53-minute in Game 6 dogfight. It was...
Why does Wanamaker go 24 tonight? There's no other explanation. Like, he's really trying to draw back some of these minutes here, especially for Kemba.
We saw Romeo make a brief cameo for 40 seconds? Jeez, dude can't catch a break.
Pour one out for Romeo.
He can catch many
One
breaks.
time.
Broken many parts of his body. I want to say a few things to some of the points you guys have been bringing up.
Okay,
One,
go.
We're judging them without Hayward right now, Bobby, when you're talking about the team that Danny assembled, correct?
Yeah.
A little bit. So I think we can all agree Hayward might change things up a little bit. 2, I think Danny's done a pretty good job to get the Celtics to this point after what happened to them in the offseason. And I almost feel like he probably, and I think a lot of us feel like we didn't expect to see the Celtics in this position, which brings me to my last point. And somebody in the comments section mentioned it, Jeff Berg, shout out. He goes, are the Celtics too young to go to the NBA Finals? And when you compare their roster to the Heat, who have guys like Butler and Dragic, who's been an absolute beast, and, Jay Crowder, everyone's favorite Jay Crowder, they've got some veterans on that team where it almost feels like they're more prepared for this moment than maybe a young Celtics team is.
I'm gonna pull in one of your boy Greeny with a Joe Sway with a good tweet right now. We're talking about just effort or just focus.
That's
or
fine.
whatever
Just
you want to call
ignore
it.
everything I said. Pull that tweet in.
No, it's good. I just want to simply say no. It's to what you're talking about, just whether they have it or not. The Celtics. When did the Celtics enter the bonus? In the fourth quarter.
8 minutes and 30
Oh,
seconds.
8:31 left. How many
Yeah.
free throws did they take the rest of the way?
6.
Not enough.
2.
2.
Two.
You're gifted. You're gifted.
That was more than that.
2.
You're right.
I didn't realize it
remember
either.
the
That's
line
why I
all down
pulled
the
it, because
stretch.
I knew they didn't get to the line a lot. But
And the Heat were in the bonus in game 1 around the same time, and that's how they made their comeback in that fourth quarter.
Yeah. And ones too, though. But yeah, you're right. Whether a 3-point play or that 4-point play from Jay,
Right.
again,
That was
Jalen's
But
another-
it changes the way once you're in the bonus, the defense plays a little bit differently, and you could get a little bit more aggressive on offense, and you didn't see that again from the Celtics. Man, let's just add that. You're right, John. Add that to the list of frustrating things that went down tonight. But again, I'll repeat my last point. Now, the Celtics too young to be in this position. Do they not have?
They'd
not
be
have the
the
wherewithal?
they'd be the youngest NBA Finals team ever, statistically. So you got a point.
Well, that's a huge stat right there, And I mean, it's a good and a bad thing, right? I mean, they're not the LA Clippers where they're, built for one more year and then you're worried about blowing the thing up. They do have a good foundation and they do have a lot of pieces, but Bobby's right. They're not completely built. There are some holes in their lineup and in their bench. There's things that I think when you get to this stage in the playoffs, really great teams expose you and really great coaches expose you. And that's probably what you're seeing here. And that's not to say the Celtics aren't great or don't have a great coach.
No, I mean, the great coach thing, sure, but as Bobby pointed out, there's nothing Spoelstra's doing that's messing with the Celtics right now. I really
It looks like it is.
I feel this was by far the most self-inflicted loss of the entire.
Yeah, this is
playoffs.
different than Toronto.
This was totally different. It was 20 turnovers that weren't high pressure, just
20
bad
turnovers.
Yeah, lots of high passing lane
Just
stuff too, side to
as
side.
Jimmy, as you pointed out, stupid shit like frigging the bounce. How many times
A
are they going to
bounce
try
pass.
to bounce pass it to a big in the lane
in traffic?
through
It makes no
traffic?
sense.
That has a 10%. He has got he has at best a 50% chance of catching it, and then being able to convert it even less.
Come up with it.
Yeah.
Come
I
up
mean, you got
with
the
it,
Heat
and then
throwing
not.
lobs at the rim, and the Celtics are rolling it over.
Here you
Are
go.
rolling it
Right?
to-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing
Well, even
fucking
Jalen
spot.
Brown was on the wrong end of one of
Yeah.
those passes. I'm not saying it's his fault, but it was like there wasn't a guy next to him. I don't know why the pass was so off. One
can't
was between the
sneak
legs.
those.
The other one was deep in the corner for 3.
Yeah, you can't sneak those in. Those are tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
They got punked. They got punked by the Heat, man. They
I
got
remember
slapped
Kemba
around.
threw one of those passes to Robert Williams against the Raptors. I was like, he's not going to catch that, man. Like one of those tough bounce passes, right at his ankle.
Like, off
And that's
his
another
elbow.
thing. Like they think Williams is the guy in game 1, game 2. He's not part of the plan. We watched for 11 months now them try to figure out that rotation, and it still doesn't necessarily seem set.
Yeah, I'd bring Harrow and Clark off the bench if I could.
Yeah. And Hero wasn't great
Hero,
tonight
we
either.
need Hero.
Yeah, he wasn't great. Dragic wasn't
20-year-old
He had a
Hero.
stretch. He had a
half.
stretch. He was outstanding. But yeah,
All right, guys. So let's get to it.
There were enough lapses there. Yeah,
what's the emergency button here? What's the dramatic move that Bragg's going to do in Game 3?
I mean, they did the stuff we talked about. I mean, we mentioned it last game. Bobby, you talked about it.
They did both things.
We talked about getting Kemba off the ball and Cantor some minutes, and so you played that card and it worked. Kemba was great. It worked. So just do it. But then
they were so good. They were so good in the first half.
Do it, and then my adjustment is don't stop doing it. Like
we also talked
then
about
just
getting
keep
Jalen
doing it. Like Jesus.
We talked.
I'm gonna say something crazy, but I'll hold off.
I don't think.
No, well, I want your crazy. I want the crazy.
What do you got? What do you got?
You first, Jimmy. That's a nice little piece.
No, we need it while the people are still here. Let's hear it.
Yeah, let's get crazy.
All right.
This
is only because of. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Sorry. Give me a second. I got to make sure this is.
All right, I'm going to say what I'll go.
Let me look it up.
This is just rehashing what we said, but I thought again, Jaylen Brown needs to do more, and I don't know if that's his fault or if that's the team's fault. But even Bobby, you talked about.
I think it's your fault, Jimmy.
Being on the radio, it might be. I mean, Danny Ainge even said that they needed to get Jaylen more involved down the stretch, and yeah, Jaylen hit a couple of big threes there, and that told me was that they needed to get him more involved earlier in the fourth quarter, maybe more in the third quarter. I mean, maybe he needs to do it himself and look for his own shots or drive more, like John said, especially when you're in the bonus. I mean, you're an athletic guy we see him ripping down these boards. We see him going up for these high-flying dunks. I mean, he should be able to, like you say, weave his way in and out of this zone and create shots, right?
It looks like he has some energy late in the game, too. Like
exactly.
He's got the burst in that spot.
Yeah, because he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let him do
standing
anything.
at the three-point line.
Yeah, really. And they got him a good look, too, for the potential game tying. That was him, right, who took the potential game tying?
He did, and it was good. And he'd knocked down 2 before that.
I feel like Joe Sway's in the trade machine right now or something, trying to work on this wild. I don't know what he's doing over there.
He's doing some sort of
his brain
calculations over there. All right, you teased us long enough.
I had to double check something, and they can do it. And it's not that crazy. I don't know. I just said it like that, but it sounded crazy in my head. No Romeo Langford. Carson Edwards. Set him up for some 3-pointers. Give this offense a boost.
I'm this close to kicking you off the show.
John, get him out of here.
Come on.
I'm bringing Emerson.
Carson?
On, okay.
What I want to know is this.
I'm bringing Emerson onto the show if you say something stupid like that again. Okay.
Even did extra. Joe Sway even did he even checked his work and still had the balls to say that.
What convinced you?
Hold on.
Roster?
Carson,
Let me check.
I've got it. Let me do some calculations.
What did you do? What did you do in the last 3 minutes that convinced you that was good for air?
No, I wanted to double check. I wanted to double check that he could actually do it. He's active.
He was watching Carson Edwards' highlight reel. He's like, yeah.
He just Googled, is Carson Edwards still in the bubble? That's what he Googled.
He was watching Carson Edwards'
he had to make sure.
Did Carson Edwards go home?
He had to make sure he didn't leave for surgery.
This isn't much of one. I'm going to play Kemba Walker. But just read into it, okay?
Nice.
A little bit.
Don't stop there.
Not much.
Bring in Taco. Little pick and roll with Carson and Taco.
This is more Abby than Kemba, I think, but we're going to play it anyway.
Oh, man.
There were reports of yelling in the locker room, some things being thrown. Marcus obviously exited emotional. Can you just kind of speak to that scene or describe what it was like?
It was nothing.
Tim Bonton?
Speak on about it.
It was nothing. Jimmy's leaving. Jimmy, I've told you about these. They're short.
The reason I got up
is more Abby than I got up with
It was more Abby than Kemba. He said it was nothing, but he said it kind of low and grumpy. Jalen dismissed it too. I've read the quotes. I don't have it yet, but we'll put it up when we have it.
Well, of course you're gonna dismiss it, but listen, and honestly, maybe it's just. I mean, everyone probably except Joe Sway. We've all been in locker rooms after games where it's gotten kind of heated.
Hi, Jimmy. That's enough, bro. That's enough, man. You went to Newton North, bro. I know you did not play high school ball. So don't even, okay? Yeah, I went there. I went there, right? Y'all my biggest rival. I can't stand y'all. But it's not y'all. It was the people who played for the team. But
Joe Sway's got some wiggle. Wait, where'd you go, Jimmy?
Maybe you saw me play one.
I
You were probably there one day.
Oh, where to go to
Maybe.
high school?
Yeah,
Bishop Girton, the Bishop Girton.
the Bishop Girton.
Wow.
What did Josue say? You went to
Shout out
Newton
to all my
North?
Cardinals. Shout out to all my Cardinals watching and listening out there.
Yeah.
I thought you went to Newton.
No, I'm
You go to
Newton South, and I
you got
played.
You got the wrong guy. That was somebody else
All right.
who mashed you.
Yeah.
No, well, I was thinking. I thought you knew. All right, never mind.
Never mind.
Jared White.
Josue's
I thought
stats
you and
are
Jared
all
went to
screwed
school
up.
together.
No, Jared went to South. But why don't you
Jared
save this for the
definitely
next?
didn't play basketball.
Josue, save this for the next research project, and let's talk about the game.
Yeah.
I think next we're trying to figure out which one of us can go in the game along with Carson to fix this
No,
thing.
the series
Let's-
is over.
Forget Edwards. Forget Edwards. Gordon Hayward. Is it going to happen next game? It felt
I
close.
think it's now or never.
I said this last game, and I'll say it again. Gordon Hayward comes in, and he will be blamed. Steven, again.
I won't blame him.
Stevens.
Not after what I saw tonight.
What? Steven should have went to him sooner.
No, whatever happens, it's going to be bad. Because he's going to come out.
Lose, yeah.
All right, so this is the key, guys. Game 3 is Saturday. Game 4 is Wednesday. So I think there's a legitimate chance that Game 4 could be
Wednesday?
They left the 4 on. They left open to scheduling, and now that whatever happened on the west side, they're leaving a bigger gap between 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So I think you're almost certain to see Hayward for Game 4.
Celtics loss on Saturday, and on Tuesday, Hayward's going to have a baby, and then Wednesday.
And then everyone's going to want his ass traded, and then he's going to opt in, and everyone's going to hate him.
It's much better for Hayward if they go down 3-0 and he leaves.
Wait, you think he's definitely going though?
I don't know.
I heard conflicting
I don't
reports
know
that he
either.
might not go, but I don't know.
I don't know. Imagine that. Imagine if he goes, down 2-1.
Well, here's my thing.
That's why they won't say when he's going to play, right?
Listen, I'm no expert.
I don't know this whole he's been going, so I don't know how that changes anything. But if he doesn't have to go, I think he'll be ready to go on Wednesday.
Do we know what the due date is?
Being down 2-0 sort of changes things. I don't know.
Do we know what the due date is?
I don't know. Message Robin.
I thought that was new. I thought that people knew. I thought there was.
Everyone was saying mid to late September, and here we are. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is this: if he wasn't good enough to play, why wouldn't he just be out of the bubble with his wife right now? Because
they'd be killing him for that too. He can't win in this situation. If he wasn't
Theoretically,
there right now, they'd be like, "Oh, why isn't he with the team?" Like Kyrie. But I mean, he went home
because he's hurt. Maybe I don't know.
He went home for 2 weeks. He comes back probably to be close with the team. He's practicing now. He's practiced the last
because
few
he's close to
practices.
returning.
So he's gonna do this. I think by at least Wednesday at the latest. But we'll see. I mean, he was doubtful for this game, which was a progression, and he's been practicing a little bit. So they're getting close, and it's just another way to spread out minutes. That's ultimately what it's going to be. I don't think he has a 30-point game up his sleeve, but they'll dig into the 24 Wanamaker.
You know what I like about Hayward at the very least?
It's okay to like Hayward.
No, I'm saying even a reduced Hayward.
You should love him. Actually.
I love Hayward's game when he's at his best. But what I like, regardless of whether he has that explosion or can pop off for 25, 30 points, which he might not be able to, is it's just settled. It settles down. You're not going to have as many crazy Marcus Smart turnaround threes and live or die with whether or not it just kind of calms it down a little because he's
the best ball handler on the team. He really is.
Hands. I like when the offense runs through him. He's great kind of running point for that second unit there and distributing and doing whatever he needs to. Again, I feel much more comfortable when he has the ball in his hands. And you're right. He's the best ball handler outside of Kemba. Let's hear, before we put a pin in all of this nonsense, we're going to hear from, I think, Jalen on the brothers fight. Yeah.
Oh, they did it.
Hey, Jalen. Jalen, the fact that you got, with everything that's been going on in the outside world, you've been in the bubble for over 2 months. Can you talk about what happened in the locker room afterwards?
Nothing really, just, a lot of emotions just flying around. Obviously, we feel like we could have won, should have won, and we didn't. So just a lot of emotions flying around. That's it.
There were reports of yelling in the locker rooms and things being thrown. Marcus obviously exited emotional. Can you just kind of speak to that scene or describe what it was like?
That's why we know. You know, he plays with passion. He's full of fire, and that's what I love about him most. To be honest, you know, he has that desire and that will, and we need him to continue to have that. You know, it's ups and downs with families all the time, but you know, we embrace each other for who we are and who Marcus is. I love him for it. So we got to get ready to come back, take that same fire, and add it to Game 3.
I like that. I mean, there's stock quotes, and then there's
Did
that.
you hear it in the beginning? You can still hear the fighting going on in the background.
I like that. I like the screw it, whatever. I mean, you could be grumbly and whatever. So if we're thinking he was the recipient, based on body language alone, I feel like Kemba and Marcus might have gone in.
Can you spark notes that for me?
Yeah, he just basically said that Jimmy's overrated as an analyst, and he's got to pay closer attention to the game.
I think I'm properly
no more water
rated.
breaks.
I suck.
No more water breaks.
Like everyone says I suck, and they're right.
He's never there when you need him. No, he was.
Joe Sway's the hungriest host here, and he sits tight, as we see after the show.
He just said they love we love Marcus, and that's who he is, and we love him for it. And
you nailed it. The families fight. I can't believe they actually said it.
Yeah, but still, if you were wondering, like, if it was you, I mean, look, if we're gonna read into stuff because we don't know if we're gonna get a blow by blow. It was pretty clear all season last year when Jalen was talking. He was like, "Yeah, I friggin' hate Kyrie Irving." You know, like he didn't look bothered there. It looked like it was, you know. So we'll see.
So it looks like it was an explosion, and then they just kind of said it. I thought Jimmy said no players talk. So I mean, they went out there and
he said some people left. I guess Marcus left.
left.
I don't know who else, but
Marcus declined. I saw that. Yeah.
I've seen
all right.
Kemba, Jason, Jalen, they all spoke. Brad spoke. So you got everybody else, all the other big players. So
that's smart. I don't know if what Smart probably thinks what he did tonight helped, and I'm just not sure it did. Like it just feels like he's kind of on an island on his own right here. And
on the court or after.
They received it well. It looks like, but like I just don't know what he's trying to get across there.
I guess the context of it. That's the thing.
Yeah, we don't know either.
About this.
Yeah. Someone might have barked at him about something late in the game.
Yeah.
It was defensive, you know, and he lost his. You know, you don't know. He might not. He might not have been going at people and saying, "You guys don't have heart." See, there could have been a squabble over a particular play. You know,
and we're not going to hear it. So it's
could
just
have been
going to
a
be
play.
left to the imagination.
Could have just been the result, and like they probably know that they let this one get away. I mean, it could just be that. I mean, guys are fired up; they're emotional right after games. I mean, we've seen it with Marcus Smart and Jay Crowder and Isaiah Thomas. I mean, those guys used to bark at each other after tough losses here and there, and I think that's just like the heart of you want to see that to an extent. You don't want it to be rooted in dislike like last year's team. I think that, like John mentioned, I think a lot of that was just disliking Kyrie. And I don't think that's what this is. I just think that they're frustrated, and I think that they know, like I said, they know they let this one get away. I wish that there was a 3-day stretch before Game 3, then instead of being before Game 4, because I think the Celtics could use, you know, a couple of days here. You know, it's been a long. They've been just playing. You know, I mean, from Toronto right into this Heat series, the Heat had a little bit more of a break. And, you know, maybe you're seeing that a little bit.
Yeah. And I guess the most positive possibility out of this is that Smart brings that fire that we say Brad doesn't have, and he fills that role. And that's the appropriate outcome out of this. I don't think the series is over. And that, when I heard that, it was a little shocking. And I was like, all right, did this just completely break down? But I'm a little more at ease now. Like the things they have to wrap up here, and with a possible impending, like they match up well here. And let's get back to Brad for just a second.
We've seen them twice build double-digit leads against this team.
Right.
We could be sitting here talking about these guys ain't shit, you know. Like, and of course,
Bam's tough. Bam's the guy who makes it
They're
extremely
good.
tough. He's
But they've twice had them down double digits here. You got to manage that.
Yeah, and so I see Cantor in the first half just plowing through the wings when they would try to get him in the post. Brown's capable of that too. And if they can get him in the right situations where he's driving into one of those guys, they don't have a chance. So it's going to be tough in 2 days to fix the things that they need to do to make sure this doesn't fall to 0-3, because once it's 0-3, it's over. But if they can just grind out Game 3, get to next Wednesday, I think they're in a pretty good spot still in this series. I mean, it's all
Sure.
Tonight's game still came down after a strong Celtics fourth to 3 points, essentially. Like, they don't run the right play on the last one, or they don't convert it, essentially, but, like, they're still there with the chance to win it in the end again. This isn't out of reach.
Yeah, but that was
the city lead in the best of 7 series, and I again, it wasn't a matter of the Celtics didn't do this, the Celtics didn't do that. It was just they didn't prolong it throughout that second half, and I don't know what it is mentally, some sort of disconnect about that third quarter. When they come out of halftime, you just don't know what to expect, and the Miami Heat they took advantage of it,
28 3-point attempts for the Celtics, 43 for the Heat. Usually the Celtics are putting up more 3-pointers than they did tonight, and even like Tatum and Brown.
That's what we wanted. Right. Remember?
But Tatum,
yeah, exactly. We're
bitching.
We're bitching about all these contested threes. They got most of their stuff done.
Almost half their points in the paint.
It's just a surprising number. That's all. I mean, Tatum just took two 3-point attempts tonight for Tatum. 0 for 2. I mean, Brown 2 for 4, and 2 of those came in the last minute, I think. Right. So I mean, these guys, it's funny. Like Joe Sway's mentioned identity crisis. It's almost like you do see different teams. You don't know what style you're going to get or who's going to show up to the game. It does feel that way right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, we took a chunk out of everyone at some point or another. We want Brad to get angry, but it's not going to happen. It's on the players to motivate themselves, so they got to figure it out.
He's got to revert. You might have to revert to the old Celtics. The one we were talking about a couple nights ago, where everyone gets their shots and the best look gets the attempts. I don't know, man. I don't know what Brad's gonna do. Brad's gonna do something to discipline the way they acted after this game.
I don't know. Yeah. Like I said, I think tomorrow they're not going to practice, so you leave them alone. And it's the opposite. Is instead of come back, force the issue, get on the line, have them run suicides. Just everybody just go clear your freaking heads. Go play. Let Tatum play some golf with Taco.
Yeah, go play around.
Go play around. Come back.
I miss.
Oh no, Taco can swim, right? They should go swimming.
Go swim. Yeah. Teach Taco to swim.
Go fishing. Do some fishing.
And let's look at the opposite side too. Like Doc is the opposite, right? In approach, and he just completely botched the Clippers series on the other side of the playoffs. So there's no perfect way to do it.
Doc's just good with the combo. I don't think he's doing much. I don't think he's doing much coaching.
Yeah,
great guy.
That dude. Taco's definitely that dude. Go to everyone's room, checking in. Like the one that are match other, he's in the middle, going back and forth.
Yeah.
So maybe we need
to do that.
The 3 things I want to see for game 3. Yeah, game 3.
All right.
It's the little things. Transition, get back. I thought they missed some free throws in the fourth quarter. That's another mental lapse. And then the turnovers and just an overall attention to detail. It really is just those fine little things that they have to clean up. And fortunately, I don't think they need to do too many different things against the zone. I don't think the X's and O's are all screwed up here. Even the rotations, they did the right things in those aspects tonight. They just got to clean up the mental lapses in the second half.
Exactly. Play the third quarter like it counts the same as the rest. It's not that hard. So, all right, we can wrap it up, I think, because we're just going to bitch and moan more. What else are we going to accomplish?
These are fun. I love these.
I know.
Hey, Saturday night.
We might need a break from each other. I'm looking forward to that gap between 3 and 4.
Jimmy, you giving it up?
Am I giving up?
If they go down 3-0, Jimmy's definitely gonna be throwing stuff around.
I'm not now. I still think they're in this.
No. I mean, Bobby, you said it perfectly. I mean, you put a good effort in Saturday, and you get the win, and then you get those 3 days off before Game 4. I mean, it's still anybody's series, but they need to come out. They need to come out gangbusters Saturday night, man. And I'll be watching. I'll have a couple beers and in each hand. I'll be
let's
ready
do
to
that
go.
again. That worked well
Saturday
for
night.
Game 7, right?
If you're here,
Joe
if you're
Sway.
watching, join.
I
Saturday
drank
night.
the entire fourth quarter of Game 7.
Joe Sway.
Yeah.
Is it
wasn't-
over, Joe Sway?
No,
Joe Sway was too scared last time to drink.
this ain't going.
All right, so we're all in
No,
agreement.
man, I got my
It's not
coffee.
over.
Working over here.
Coffee. It's 11 p.m. almost. This guy's
He doesn't
Every
like
every
sleep.
game. No, I don't think this
You
is
don't
over,
sleep.
man. This one's going to distance.
All right, there we have
All
it.
right.
We're done. Okay. That's it. Game 3, Saturday, 8:30. It's going to be late. We'll still be here, and then we're going to take some time off. We're going to well-deserved break, I think. We got a couple late ones if you're a Boston fan. Not late, but we're old men. I'm an old man. 8:30, 8:30,
Not
and then
me.
a post-game show, and then the Pats at 8:30 the next night.
Oh,
I'm only
right.
I'm only 27 days younger than Tatum, so I'm ready. I got this.
That means you're 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Forever
Bring
19.
your playoff performance then, bro.
All right, so once again, Josue Pavone, Heavy.com, Celtics writer for Heavy.com, Bobby Manning, Celtics blog, and CLNS Media. Jimmy Toscano, the ubiquitous Jimmy Toscano, who doesn't?
Wherever you want me to be.
Yes, and our producer, associate producer, Dylan, he's in there. Should we pop him in real quick?
Dylan.
I think Carson Edward and Taco Minutes, that's all we need.
There it is, Carson Edward and Taco.
Wow.
He can do Joe Sway's job.
Hey, yo,
I don't need Josue
yo,
anymore.
Dylan.
Josue, I'm gonna
Got a
knock you
shot.
out of
What's
here.
going on over here?
That's too good.
I like this
For the
guy.
record, leave Carson on the bench. Get out of here.
I might let this
Yeah.
kid in earlier next time.
Is Danny there? I think he's in there now.
Danny's next.
Hey,
Danny's in the 6 box.
John,
Yeah.
he's our Tony. Bring him in seriously the next show. You can be our Tony Reale and like read some comments to us or something.
Yeah, he's
some
doing
hate mail.
Yeah,
Yo,
yeah.
he
They hate
probably
you in the
hates
comments.
your
That's what the
reality, so
comments
don't
are
call
saying.
him.
They hate you.
They hate us.
I know they do.
I don't even turn him on anymore. Bobby gets caught staring at him the whole time. He looks at stats
I've
for
been
the first
watching too.
stats for the first part of the show, and then comments for the rest.
It's shocking, though. They love us when the Celtics win for some reason. Oh.
No,
Someone's gonna break it.
Yeah, they come here to beat on us when they lose.
If the Celtics win, we'll take some comments. If they lose Saturday night, no comments.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I said, the 4 Heat burner account, fans that are out there,
Yeah.
like, we don't have time for you guys. I'm sorry. All right, we're gonna wrap it up.
right.
For
Yeah.
all these guys and Dylan making his debut. Thanks, guys.